And easily one of the most polarizing slam singles finals yet, Novak Djokovic takes on Nick Kyrgios for the 2022 Men's Wimbledon Championship title. Can Novak catch up in the slam count race with number 21? Or will Nick finally fulfill his potential and earn his maiden major title? I'll break down this matchup and give you the keys to both players' performances before giving my prediction of who I think will raise the winner's trophy here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today. Nick Kyrgios actually leads the head-to-head with Novak 2-0, but disclaimer, those two wins came in 2017, which was probably Novak's worst season this past decade. Neither man has played a whole bunch of tennis this season, and they share similar win-loss records for the year. Nick has a slight edge in playing 2 hours less than Novak, thanks to that withdrawal from Rafa in the semis. Looking at Kyrgios' road to the finals, he had an absolute dogfight on his hands in the opening round, scraping by Brit Paul Jube in 5 sets. He then steamrolled Queens finalist Filip Krajinovic before besting 4th seed Tsitsipas in a testy third-round affair. Kyrgios then battled through some shoulder issues and a red-hot Brandon Nakashima before comfortably moving past Cristian Garin in straight sets. Of course, in the semis, Nick received a walkover due to Nadal suffering with an abdominal injury during his quarterfinal with Taylor Fritz. After a lackluster, injury-riddled 2021 season that saw him fall outside the top 100, Nick came into 2022 with a seemingly renewed mindset stemming from his Australian Open doubles triumph alongside good friend Thanasi Kokkinakis. Following a solid Sunshine double showing, Kyrgios took a few months off to avoid the clay and came back for the grass season, where he made semi-final runs at Stuttgart and Halle. Kyrgios continued that form at SW19, playing his way into form after a tough opening match against Jube. There, the serve and ground strokes were notably off, but he rebounded nicely the following 2 rounds, which helped him defeat Tsitsipas for the second straight time. The match with Tsitsipas was incredibly high quality from both, and it was honestly decided by Nick's clutchness in the crucial moments. Nick wasn't as solid in his next match against Brandon Nakashima, some of which was due to a nagging shoulder injury. He stayed the course there though and just rode his way to victory over the less experienced young American. Then in the quarters, he played a much cleaner match, taking out Chilean Cristian Garin in straight sets. Now, Kyrgios' fortnight hasn't been shy of drama, as first he was fined in his opening round match against Paul Jube for spitting at a fan. He then had a verbal spat with Stefanos Tsitsipas before officially being charged with assault by his ex-girlfriend for an incident that took place over a year ago. Kyrgios hasn't done anything too revolutionary or out of the ordinary this tournament, but the biggest difference is his unwavering focus, which has allowed him to maintain that high level of play for a longer period of time. The serve is still the biggest weapon for him out there, as he's notched 120 aces, an average of 24 per match. Kyrgios has also been very solid on return, and even though he doesn't break with a ton of frequency, he constantly applies pressure to his opponents on serve, which has had a lasting impact. Meanwhile, shifting the focus to Novak, the Serbians had a very rocky season, of course, with a deportation drama at the start of the year in Australia. He then struggled to find his form a bit until the latter part of the clay season, where he made the semis of Madrid, won Rome, and had a solid quarters finish in Paris. Nole opened his title defense at SW19 with a scrappy 4-set victory over Sun Wukong. He then cleaned things up with decisive 3-set wins over Kokkinakis and Kecmanovic before being tested a bit by skilled Dutchman Tim van Riethoven. Nole then had a huge scare, fighting back from 2 sets to love down to take out young Italian Jannik Sinner. Finally, in the semifinals, he ended home crowd hopeful Cam Norrie's run in 4 sets. As he typically does at Wimbledon, Novak has been dominant on serve throughout the fortnight, averaging 82% of first serve points won while being broken 11 times. The key to Nole's service success is more his placement rather than pace, and then the return to is a big entity for the top seed, as his ability to neutralize his opponent's serves and apply ample pressure helps him tremendously. Novak, for the most part, has been very solid from the ground, though he's had moments where he sprays a bit more, like versus Sinner in that quarterfinal match. He did pull it together when he needed to though, which is really all that matters in the end. Now for Novak to win his record 4th straight Wimbledon crown, he must first get Kyrgios off balance. Nick is a pretty solid mover, but obviously not as effective as when he's dictating from the middle of the court. I think Djokovic will find success by maneuvering the 27-year-old laterally, as well as getting him moving forward with drop shots and low chips. The next point I have for Novak is to make Kyrgios work on serve. It's important that Nole get a decent read on the Aussie serve and just get a lot of returns back in play, because in all honesty, Kyrgios hasn't had to work a bunch this fortnight after making that first serve. Also, Kyrgios has averaged below 50% in second serve points won the past few rounds, so I feel like that's a great opening for Djokovic to apply ample pressure on Nick's second serve. The next point is to look for backhand to backhand exchanges. This is pretty clear and self-explanatory, but Djokovic's backhand is world-renowned and surely better than the Australians. Nick also won't be able to do as much damage off that side as compared to the forehand. Plus, it is more prone to breaking down under pressure. I think throwing in some slices to that wing would be smart too, as Garin experienced success when doing that. My final point for Novak is to raise his level, especially in the tight moments. Nick has been very clutch this tournament, saving 28 break points while only getting broken 6 times. His last few opponents have all had opportunities to make their matches even more competitive, but they just could not cash in on their chances. Djokovic needs to make sure that he's 100% focused and dialed in so he can take those opportunities. Now for Kyrgios to be successful, he should quite frankly go for his shots with no hesitation. Kyrgios cannot fall into that rhythm of just being out-rallied by Novak. I want him to take the ball early and constantly smother Novak and put him under pressure constantly throughout this entire match. Sinner was successful in those 2 sets because he upped the pace on his shots and began pushing Novak deep behind that baseline. Nick definitely has the potential to do this here, and he cannot back down one bit. The next point coincides with this, which is Nick should look to move forward whenever possible. I definitely favor his chances more in the forecourt than I do with him grinding with Novak from the baseline. He's been serving and volleying pretty frequently throughout this tournament, which I think can be advantageous. However, Nick needs to make sure that he hits his spots because Djokovic will make him pay if he doesn't. Third, Kyrgios needs to make sure that he's firing on serve in this final. In that Jupe match, Nick had a bad serving day and hit 11 double faults. When the serve falters, the other parts of Nick's game aren't as strong, as is his best and most important shot. Of course, Kyrgios getting easy putaways and holds will be crucial in the early stages and big points of this final with Novak, as he's going to need all the help he can get. Lastly, Kyrgios must seize his opportunities here. In almost all of his matches this fortnight, Novak has had some type of drop in form, which allows his opponents to make their mark. The same is very likely to happen here, and Kyrgios must make sure that he dials in on any little opening and keeps the serve at bay. For my final prediction, I have Novak coming through to win this match in 4 sets. I truly feel that the Sinner match prepared Novak to win this tournament. Rarely does he lose a slam after coming so close to defeat like that, and I truly feel that he's playing on house money at the moment. Perhaps the biggest factor to consider is the greater experience Djokovic has on this big stage. Kyrgios is extremely skilled and honestly should have been in a slam final before now, but this is his first, and he's actually never even won a 1000 title. He made just one 1000 final, and that was back in 2017, so it's been a while for Nick. In fact, the Australian hasn't even been in the tour final and hasn't even won one since 2019. Meanwhile, Novak has been there, done that 7 times, matter of fact, here at Wimbledon alone, so I feel like he'll just be much more mentally primed for the occasion. I also think Djokovic has better preparation in general for this final, as Kyrgios, as we all know, received a walkover in the semifinal. I think this could really hurt the Australian because having not played a match in 4 days, let alone at a slam, can mess with one's rhythm. I'd also favor Djokovic should things go deeper for both mental and physical reasons. Nole is the fitter of the 2 players and is far more conditioned to these best of 5 affairs. Now, Kyrgios could very well benefit from that extra day of rest from the walkover, but I feel like there are concerns with him picking up an injury as he was battling shoulder issues against against Nakashima. I also believe nerves will be a big factor for the Australian here. Kyrgios said in his pre-final presser that he's gotten very little sleep with the excitement and anxiety surrounding this final. He felt nervous on Thursday, so imagine how he'll feel actually stepping out on court Sunday. Now on the other hand, Djokovic might also feel the pressure as he knows that he doesn't have a lot of opportunities to win more slams. He probably won't be able to play the next two majors due to him being unvaxxed, so this is a big match, especially when you consider the slam race and all. We also just don't know what we'll see from Nick on Sunday morning, as he could come out and play, quite frankly, the match of his life, for all we know. He's talked about being a big match player and living for these big moments, and what moment is bigger than playing your first slam final at Wimbledon against the top seed and three-time defending champ? Also, Kyrgios will try to rely on the confidence from having beaten Novak those two times in 2017. Now, we shouldn't read too much into those matches because Novak was at a completely different level there and was truly a shell of his great self. It will be interesting to see how this match plays out because Kyrgios hasn't faced a returner, an overall consistently excellent player like Djokovic. Meanwhile, Novak hasn't faced a player with the serve of Kyrgios, but like I said earlier, I think the center match will help him out a lot in finding his way through this final. It will be interesting to see how the emotions and crowd play a role here. Novak said that there are guaranteed to be some fireworks, as of course Nick is playing his first slam final and Novak is chasing history. Djokovic said that Kyrgios won't have much to lose and he expects him to play pretty freely, but Nick might not feel this way as he talked about thinking that his ship has sailed for a major title. In his mind, this could be one of his only shots at winning a slam, and with his interesting mentality, this could be make or break. I think Kyrgios does have a solid chance at winning this title, but he honestly needs to be at or near his best and hope that Djokovic is a little flat like how he was at last year's US Open final. There, his game was notably off, and while he was facing a tremendous amount of pressure, maybe that was the start of a Serena-like finals mental block. Who knows? Still, I do feel like Novak will raise his level even higher for this final and will be determined to get a win on the board over Kyrgios. Nick and Novak have had their issues in the past, but all seem to be well now as they had a nice exchange on the practice court Saturday, and they might even be going out to the pub for a nice dinner after the finals. That's all I have for this finals preview, and let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree with me having Novak take the title. Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I give my post-match analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.